Challenge everything you think you know about energy. What if the same concepts that guide Chinese Tai Chi or Native American healing rituals are proven by quantum physics or neuroscience? I dare you to suspend belief for a moment as we explore the incredible bridge between ancient practices and modern discoveries. What if ancient cultures, separated by vast oceans and insurmountable mountains, were connected by something invisible but deeply profound? It's almost as if they were speaking different dialects of the same universal truth, each describing a force that couldn't be seen but could be felt, a vital energy flowing through all living things, shaping life itself. The names might change, Ka, Prana, Chi, Pneuma, but the essence remains strikingly similar. This isn't a coincidence. So how could civilizations so distanced by geography and time arrive at such parallel beliefs about energy? In Egypt, they called it Ka, the life force that animated the body and persisted after death. To the ancient Egyptians, Ka wasn't just an abstract concept, it was an essential part of existence, intricately woven into their spiritual traditions. Priests would perform elaborate rituals, believing they could guide the Ka of a deceased person to merge with the eternal afterlife. What's fascinating is that Ka wasn't confined to religious ceremonies alone. It influenced everyday life, from architecture to medicine. Temples and tombs weren't just structures, they were designed as energetic havens, potent with sacred geometry, to ensure the proper flow and stability of the Ka. Imagine for a moment how their understanding of energy shaped their entire civilization, leaving behind not only beliefs but breathtaking monuments like the Great Pyramid. Meanwhile, in India, another ancient tradition was developing its understanding of life's subtle forces. Prana, often referred to as the breath of life, was central to Indian philosophy, particularly within the teachings of yoga and the Vedic texts. But prana was more than just a physical breath. It was seen as a universal energy that connects everything in existence. This wasn't merely theory, they developed practical ways to direct and balance prana through practices like pranayama, specific breathing techniques that controlled the energy within. The nadis, or energy channels, were thought to carry prana throughout the body, and disruptions in this flow were believed to cause illness or imbalance. Thousands of years later, these practices are still studied, hinting at their profound insight into health and well-being. Shifting eastward, ancient Chinese culture gave us Qi, or Qi, a concept you've likely heard in modern contexts like acupuncture or martial arts. But this wasn't some vague or mystical idea in early China. Qi was deeply integrated into their worldview. The I Ching, a foundational text, described the dynamic interactions of Qi in nature and human life, emphasizing its constant movement and transformation. Traditional Chinese medicine took this a step further, identifying meridians, an intricate network of pathways through which Qi flowed. When Qi moved freely, health and vitality thrived. When it stagnated or became blocked, illness followed. Practices like Qigong and Tai Chi were developed not just as exercises, but as ways to cultivate, balance, and circulate this vital energy. If you think about it, these techniques reflect not only a deep understanding of the body, but also a profound connection to the rhythms of nature. And we can't forget about the ancient Greeks, whose idea of pneuma tied together philosophy, medicine, and spirituality. According to early thinkers like Hippocrates and his predecessors, pneuma was the breath of life, a substance that permeated the body and provided both physical vitality and spiritual essence. They saw pneuma as the medium through which the soul interacted with the material world. This wasn't limited to philosophical musings either. Hippocratic medicine explored how pneuma circulated in the body, influencing health and mood. Interestingly, the Greeks often linked this concept to the air itself, highlighting their belief that the environment had a direct impact on the energies within the human body. Curiously, this understanding of vital energy wasn't confined to these well-known civilizations. In the Americas, indigenous cultures viewed energy as sacred and intrinsic to life. The Lakota people called it Wakan, a spiritual force present in all aspects of the natural world, from rivers to rocks. Through rituals, songs, and dances, they sought harmony with Wakan, viewing it as essential not just for individual well-being, but for the collective balance of their community. Similarly, in Yoruba traditions from West Africa, Akshi represents the dynamic life force that exists within people and nature. Unlike some more abstract concepts, Akshi was primarily action-oriented. It referred to the power to make things happen. Every ritual, every act of worship was designed to cultivate and channel Akshi. These traditions reveal a deep understanding of energy as both personal and communal, shaping relationships between humans, nature, and the cosmos. So here's the question: how did such distinct cultures, separated by impossible distances and evolving in isolation, describe something so similar? What's even more curious is that many of these cultures believed the same thing about this energy. It wasn't just biological or physical, but spiritual and cosmic. Whether it was the Egyptians seeking balance for their ka, Indian sages guiding prana through the nadis, Chinese masters aligning qi with the pulse of the universe, or ancient Greeks pondering the flow of pneuma, there's a universal recognition here. This energy isn't just within us, it connects everything. If you look back through their sacred text, it's astounding to see how often energy appears as a central theme. The Vedas, for instance, describe prana as originating not just in the human body, but in the sun itself, linking life on Earth to a cosmic source. Similarly, the I Ching uses metaphors of wind and water to teach how qi flows and transforms, mirroring natural cycles. Even the pre-Socratic philosophers in Greece were discussing air, or pneuma, as a primal element before modern science ever hinted at the interconnectedness of oxygen and human life. This isn't just poetic, it's remarkable evidence of a shared human curiosity about the forces that animate us, even in the absence of direct communication between these cultures. Perhaps these parallels suggest something deeper, a universal truth that ancient societies intuited through observation, meditation, and ritual. They may not have shared our scientific tools, but their methods of exploration, whether through breath, movement, or ceremony, pointed towards something fundamental about how energy pervades existence. Ultimately, there's one common conclusion they seem to share. This energy isn't optional or secondary. It's essential, it's life itself. And while the names may differ, the message is the same. Everything is energy, and understanding it might just be the key to understanding ourselves. That leaves one question. If these civilizations recognize this invisible force, how did they learn to harness it in ways that still inspire practices across the world today? Have you ever thought about how something as ordinary as your breath could hold the key to uncovering ancient wisdom? Across diverse cultures, people developed remarkable techniques to manipulate the unseen energy believed to flow within and around us. These practices, shaped by necessity and curiosity, share remarkable similarities despite the distances between their origins. From breathing exercises to deliberate movements and focused visualization, each technique was designed to balance, cultivate, and direct this vital force. Practices like Tai Chi in China, pranayama in India, and Sufi breathwork in the Middle East all tapped into the rhythm of life's energy, shaping disciplines that remain influential even today. Let's start with Tai Chi, a practice rooted in ancient Chinese traditions. At its core, Tai Chi is about cultivating and harmonizing qi, the vital energy that connects and sustains all living things. Through its slow, deliberate movements, Practitioners guide this energy through the body's meridians, those invisible pathways mapped out by traditional Chinese medicine. Tai Chi isn't just about physical fitness. It's a moving meditation that brings the practitioner into alignment with nature's flow. What's fascinating is that the physical sensations often reported during Tai Chi, like tingling in the hands or a sense of warmth and pressure, are tangible reminders of Qi in action. Some describe it as holding a ball of energy between the palms, a testament to how deeply connected the practice is to the body's energetic awareness. Now think about the practice of pranayama from India. Like Tai Chi, pranayama focuses on harnessing energy, but through an entirely different medium, the breath. In yoga, breath and energy are inseparable, with each inhale and exhale acting as a vessel for prana, the life force. Techniques like nadi shodhana or alternate nostril breathing were designed not only to clear the physical pathways of breath but also to balance the flow of energy channels within the body. Symbolically, this practice mirrors the balance of opposing forces in the universe, the sun and moon, masculine and feminine, active and passive. But this isn't just poetic symbolism. Practitioners often describe a deep sense of clarity and calm after such exercises, as if the act of balancing their breath aligns something much deeper within them. The simplicity of these techniques is paired with profound depth, offering insights into the way breath connects the physical to the spiritual. Let's explore another tradition, Sufi breathwork. Emerging from the mystical practices of Islam, this technique highlights the transformative power of intentional breathing to cultivate spiritual energy. For Sufi practitioners, breath is seen as a direct link between the physical world and the divine. Each inhale draws life into the body, while each exhale releases what no longer serves it. These practices often accompany rhythmic chanting or meditation, intensifying the energetic effect. What's particularly striking about Sufi breathwork is its ability to harmonize the physical and spiritual, weaving them into one unified thread. Although these practices are less commonly discussed in the broader conversations around energy, they demonstrate that breath holds a remarkably universal importance in the pursuit of balance and connection. When you compare these traditions side by side, the overlaps are impossible to ignore. All rely on some combination of breath management, body awareness, and concentration. Whether it's the graceful movements of Tai Chi, the rhythmic cycles of pranayama, or the deeply intentional breathing of Sufi mystics, each practice treats energy as something we can actively shape. It's not static or out of reach, it's dynamic and responsive, waiting for us to interact with it. This shared understanding, developed in isolation, suggests that these cultures were uncovering something fundamental about the human experience of energy. Modern science, too, has started to validate what these traditions have known for centuries. Studies show that practices like pranayama can significantly affect the nervous system. For example, conscious breathing has been linked to activating the parasympathetic system, which helps bring the body into a state of calm. Techniques like abdominal breathing, which expand and contract the diaphragm in a rhythmic way, have proven effective in reducing stress and improving energy regulation. Similar benefits have been observed in Tai Chi, where the flow of movement promotes a state of mindfulness, lowers cortisol levels, and improves physical coordination. Even the use of visualization in these practices, like imagining energy flowing through the body, has been shown to enhance focus and bodily awareness, creating a neurophysiological effect. Take Qigong as another example. This ancient Chinese system of breath control and movement is designed to cultivate qi and maintain health. When practicing Qigong, Exercises involve synchronizing intentional breathing with postures and meditations. Practitioners describe sensations of subtle energy in their hands, and studies in China have demonstrated its ability to assist with managing chronic conditions and even boosting immunity. What's fascinating is how Qigong bridges the gap between physical health and mental clarity. Beyond its therapeutic benefits, it engages the practitioner in a conscious relationship with their own energy, reinforcing that it's not just a force within us, but a dynamic part of our interaction with the world. One particularly elegant breathing technique from the yogic tradition is Nadi Shodhana. By alternating which nostril you breathe through, this practice stimulates specific energy centers and clears blockages in the body's flow of prana. It's both physical and symbolic, representing how balance is achieved by harmonizing opposites. Practicing Nadi Shodhana helps regulate the mind, bringing mental clarity and peace, while also physically shifting the body's energy patterns. What's astonishing is that something as simple as breath control can bring such powerful mental and emotional benefits. When you step back and examine these disciplines collectively, a pattern starts to emerge, one that reveals how the body and breath are deeply intertwined with the world's flow of energy. Practices like Tai Chi, Qigong, and Pranayama demonstrate that we've always had tools to access this energy and direct it with intention. And the most impressive part? Modern research is beginning to confirm the physiological and mental advantages these techniques offer, reintroducing them into new contexts while reaffirming their roots. So, what does this all mean? It means that we're not as disconnected from ancient wisdom as we might think. These practices didn't just focus on physical health. They aligned body, mind, and spirit into one cohesive flow. Cultures may have used different methods to work with this energy, but they all reached the same conclusion: that harmony within the self resonates outward, touching every corner of our lives. But here's another question worth asking. If breathing and movement are keys to shaping energy, what tools and symbols did these cultures develop to amplify its effects? This connection between physical techniques and the external world holds even more intriguing possibilities. Imagine if the Great Pyramid of Giza wasn't just a monument to the dead, but an actual device, a structure designed not for pharaohs but for energy. Or if the chants of Tibetan monks weren't merely spiritual prayers, but frequencies intentionally created to shift human consciousness. Across cultures, ancient civilizations seem to understand something profound: that the physical world shapes sounds and structures, was deeply connected to the invisible realm of energy. Sacred geometry and sound, they believed, weren't just symbolic, they were technologies, tools, instruments used to manipulate and guide this life force we've explored so far. Let's start with sacred geometry, an idea you'll find embedded in countless ancient cultures. Sacred geometry is the belief that specific shapes and patterns, when arranged in precise forms, hold energetic or spiritual significance. Look at the pyramids of Egypt. These towering structures weren't randomly designed. They were built with exact mathematical proportions and aligned to celestial bodies, such as the star Sirius or the Orion constellation. Researchers have pointed out that the Great Pyramid's dimensions encode the golden ratio, a number that appears everywhere in nature, from seashells to galaxies. This wasn't by accident. Ancient Egyptians thought the pyramid's shape allowed it to act as a channel between earthly and cosmic energies, amplifying the flow of Ka, or life force, through both the land and, symbolically, the afterlife. But Egypt wasn't the only culture obsessed with geometry. Thousands of miles away, on the Salisbury Plain in England, lies Stonehenge, an arrangement of immense stones whose purpose remains a mystery. What we do know is that its design wasn't arbitrary. Like the pyramids, it's aligned with the solstices, suggesting its creators understood the cyclical nature of the cosmos and how this might influence the flow of energy through the earth. Some researchers suggest that locations like Stonehenge were chosen for their unique electromagnetic properties, essentially using geometry to unlock or amplify the energy of the land itself. These structures weren't merely aesthetic, they were functional, charged with purpose. Shapes weren't the only tools. Cultures also turned to sound as a medium for energy manipulation. Have you ever heard Gregorian chants or the resonant hum of Tibetan singing bowls? They aren't just beautiful, they're deliberate. Ancient traditions understood that sound wasn't just heard, it was felt. Vibrations, they believed, could move energy within the body and the environment. For example, in the practices of Tibetan monks, chanting specific syllables and mantras is thought to harmonize the body's energy with the universe. These chants follow precise tonal frequencies, designed to tune the body in the same way a musician tunes their instrument. Om, a sound common in Hindu and Buddhist traditions, is said to vibrate at a frequency that mirrors the fundamental vibration of the universe itself, creating a sense of unity and alignment for those who chant it. Even more fascinating, instruments like the didgeridoo, an ancient wind instrument used by Aboriginal Australians, are crafted not only for music but to affect energy. The deep, drone-like vibrations of the didgeridoo are often used in ceremonies to induce healing. Some reports even suggest that the sound waves it produces can help relax the body and promote meditative states, similar to modern sound therapy techniques. What's remarkable is how specific these instruments are in their role, showing that sound wasn't just random noise. It was a tool for healing and transformation. Modern science is catching up to ancient wisdom. Researchers have found that sound vibrations, particularly at certain frequencies, can affect the brain and energy fields in measurable ways. For instance, studies on brainwaves show that chanting or listening to low-frequency sounds can reduce stress and even alter mental states, leading to relaxation and focus. This might explain why so many ancient cultures relied on repetitive chants and drumming patterns during their rituals. On a physical level, sound has been shown to impact cells, with certain frequencies improving blood flow and promoting healing. These discoveries highlight why sound, an invisible force, was such a powerful way for ancient peoples to influence energy. Sacred geometry and sound seem distinct at first, but they share a crucial similarity. Both are based on patterns. Whether it's the precise angles of a pyramid or the repetitive rhythm of a chant, these tools rely on structured forms to manipulate energy. This emphasis on structure is what makes them so effective. Think, for instance, of the mandalas in Hindu or Buddhist traditions. These intricate geometric designs are more than art. They're meditation tools meant to guide the practitioner in focusing their energy and thoughts. Every shape, from the concentric circles to the symmetry of the patterns, reflects cosmic order, aligning the observer with the natural balance of the universe. The act of creating or meditating on a mandala isn't passive. It actively engages the mind and spirit in energy work. The combination of these tools emphasizes that energy isn't just internal. It's a relationship between us, our surroundings, and the larger universe. Pranic healing, a practice that emerged with roots in Indian spirituality, incorporates concepts of external energy manipulation by systematically scanning and cleansing a person's aura. Practitioners focus on specific energy centers, or chakras, and use their hands to guide the vital force, or prana, through the body. As scientific research into the biofield grows, such practices are gaining new attention. While not fully understood by modern instruments yet, anecdotal accounts often describe warmth, tingling, and flow sensations during energy work, physical signs of this subtle force being influenced. But it all comes back to intention. Whether constructing a pyramid, playing the didgeridoo, or chanting Om, these tools worked because they were paired with focused attention. Ancient wisdom emphasized that energy followed intention, that the mind played a powerful role in shaping how and where energy moved. intention, when paired with something tangible like sound frequencies or geometric alignment, amplified the impact. It's a reminder that working with energy isn't passive, it's an active practice of focus and clarity. In these ancient systems, sound and geometry didn't just represent something greater, they were that something. They transcended symbolism to become functional, physical bridges between the visible and invisible worlds. And if these ancient cultures went to such great lengths to create tools for energy work, it raises an obvious question. Why? Were they tapping into something timeless, something we've overlooked in the modern world? What's striking is that even as we uncover the science behind these practices, the mystery remains. Geometry, sound, these tools work on principles we're still unraveling, and yet they remind us of a deeper truth, that the energies we seek to understand are bound up not only within us, but in the very shapes and sounds of the world around us. Which makes you wonder, where else might this ancient knowledge overlap with modern science? Let's take a closer look. What if the wisdom of ancient civilizations wasn't just philosophy or mythology, but a precursor to the science of today? For centuries, ideas about energy, its flow, its manipulation, its role in health and spirituality, were central to practices like acupuncture, meditation, and qigong. These traditions weren't built on hard science as we understand it today, but rather on observation, intuition, and experimentation. Yet modern research is beginning to suggest that these ancient energy systems may have been onto something all along. Could it be that science is finally catching up to what human intuition understood thousands of years ago? One powerful example lies in acupuncture, a practice rooted in traditional Chinese medicine that focuses on the body's energetic pathways, or meridians, to maintain balance. For centuries, skeptics dismissed the idea of meridians as unscientific, and the concept of qi, the life force flowing through them, was seen as purely symbolic. But the narrative shifted when the World Health Organization, WHO, officially recognized acupuncture and validated its effectiveness for certain medical conditions. While researchers haven't pinpointed the exact mechanism behind its success, studies have suggested that acupuncture triggers responses in the nervous system, improving blood flow and even releasing endorphins. What's fascinating is that the concept of meridians, those invisible pathways of energy, may actually correspond to networks of connective tissue or bioelectric signaling in the body. This type of validation has intrigued scientists, offering a bridge between traditional practices and modern understanding. Let's take meditation as another example. What ancient cultures described as focusing energy or calming the mind, neuroscience now observes as changes in brain activity and structure. Studies have shown that meditation affects brain waves, quieting areas of overactivity and encouraging synchronization across different regions of the brain. Regular meditation has even been shown to promote neuroplasticity, the brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. The implications are profound, since the intentional focus at the heart of meditation could directly influence not just mental clarity, but also how energy flows through the body. Ancient traditions may not have used terms like neuroplasticity or brain waves, but their practices appear to align with these scientific discoveries. It raises an intriguing question. Did these ancient practitioners have their own intuitive understanding of how the mind shapes the physical body? One of the more unexpected overlaps between ancient energy practices and modern science comes from the placebo effect. Often discussed in medical research, the placebo effect demonstrates that belief has the power to influence tangible physical outcomes, This phenomenon suggests that the mind can activate the body's healing mechanisms even when the treatment isn't technically real. While this concept has a scientific basis, it also mirrors ancient energy practices, where belief, focus, and intention played critical roles. When a practitioner of meditation channels prana, or a healer works to align someone's chi, isn't there a parallel idea at play? That the mind itself serves as a tool for healing. The placebo effect may provide a modern framework to explain how concepts like intention and belief amplify the power of these energetic techniques. Then there's the growing field of bioelectricity, the study of electrical currents produced by biological systems. In essence, your body doesn't just run on cells or molecules, it runs on energy. Nerve impulses and even cellular behavior depend on electrical signals, hinting at a literal flow of energy within the body. This idea aligns eerily well with ancient beliefs about vital energy traveling through pathways like meridians or nadis. Scientists are now exploring ways to influence this energy for healing. For instance, bioelectric therapies are being tested to regenerate tissue or accelerate wound healing, demonstrating that the body's own energy might be a tool for repair. It's as if modern technology is harnessing the same principles that healers and sages have worked with for millennia. Quantum physics offers yet another fascinating lens for understanding ancient practices. The concept of quantum entanglement, where two particles become interconnected and instantly influence one another, regardless of distance, challenges conventional ideas of time and space. It's a mind-bending discovery, but it's not entirely unfamiliar if you've studied ancient spirituality. Many energy practices lean on the idea that everything in the universe is connected, that our individual energy ties into a greater cosmic web. While science doesn't yet confirm that chi or prana exists on a quantum level, the parallels between quantum entanglement and ancient ideas of interconnectedness suggest that these traditions were grappling with truths modern physics is only beginning to uncover. The health benefits of practices like Qigong and Tai Chi also deserve attention. Studies show that these gentle, deliberate movements improve physical balance, strengthen cardiovascular health, and even reduce stress. Practitioners often report sensations of warmth or vibration in the body, things they describe as energy in motion. What's interesting is how these practices, often dismissed as soft or purely spiritual, have been shown to have tangible benefits for physical and mental well-being. It's as though these ancient traditions didn't just teach people how to live better. They understood that taking care of energy was taking care of life itself. While science still can't map qi in a lab, the outcomes of practices like Tai Chi hint that there's something layered and complex happening. Let's not overlook the transformative power of sound either. While ancient chants and mantras might seem unrelated to modern science, research into sound healing suggests otherwise. It turns out that sound waves at specific frequencies can influence cellular structures, improve focus, and even promote relaxation. Monotonous sounds like chanting Om have been shown to activate the vagus nerve, which controls the parasympathetic nervous system, a key player in stress reduction. Once again, we see energy-centric practices validated by science in ways their creators couldn't have imagined. Even as these connections grow stronger, skepticism remains. Some argue that the evidence is anecdotal or that energy practices lack the rigorous testing needed to qualify as science. It's true, studying something as intangible as energy is difficult, especially when results depend so much on the personal experience of the practitioner. But the growing body of research suggests that intuition and tradition might hold truths science hasn't fully grasped yet. The fact that acupuncture, meditation, and other energy-based techniques work, even if science doesn't yet understand their every mechanism, suggests they're tapping into something real and significant. Looking at all this, one thing becomes clear. Science and spirituality aren't at odds. They are fellow explorers staring into the same mystery, just from different vantage points. The ancient understanding of energy might have been poetic, even metaphysical, but its practices were grounded in real, observable outcomes. Modern science, armed with technology and data, is adding new layers to these ancient insights, showing us that the mind, body, and universe are more interconnected than we've ever imagined. So if these ancient cultures were right all along, what does that mean for us today? How can we take these timeless practices and bring them into the context of our modern lives? Let's look at how you can begin to tap into your own energy and gain practical benefits from this fusion of ancient wisdom and contemporary science.
What if you could tap into the wisdom of thousands of years to improve not just your day, but your life as a whole, starting with practices so simple, you could do them in your living room? Ancient energy techniques like breathwork, meditation, and sound healing might seem out of reach, or maybe even too esoteric to apply in today's busy world. But the truth is much the opposite. These practices were always designed to integrate seamlessly into daily life, whether in an ancient village or a modern apartment. The trick is to stop thinking of them as mysterious or intimidating, and instead approach them as tools, small and adaptable, that can meet you wherever you are. Let's start with one of the simplest ways to begin working with your energy, your breath. Breathwork, often seen as the foundation of ancient energy practices, is one of the easiest to incorporate into your routine. What makes it so powerful is that it's already something your body does all the time. You don't need any special equipment or external tools. With just a moment of focus, you can turn your ordinary automatic breathing into a conscious practice of managing and directing energy. One highly accessible method is simply sitting quietly and focusing on your inhale and exhale. The act of paying attention to your breath slows your thoughts and creates space, which helps release patterns of tension and unnecessary mental control. This release doesn't just feel calming, it creates a kind of reset within your nervous system. Over time, you might notice the effects ripple out, leaving you with a smoother flow, not only of breath but of energy itself. The benefits of breathwork are more than anecdotal. Scientists who study the impact of controlled breathing have found remarkable effects on both the body and the mind. Intentional breathing, especially slow diaphragmatic breathing, is shown to engage the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps the body recover from stress. You've probably heard it called rest and digest mode. Ancient practices like pranayama, which involve specific breathing patterns, approached this idea long before modern science named it. By controlling and harmonizing their breath, practitioners tapped into a state of calm that modern studies now associate with reduced cortisol levels and better overall energy regulation. And anyone can try this, whether it's first thing in the morning to set the tone for your day or during stressful moments to find your center again. Meditation is another practice you can integrate into even the most hectic schedules. Its simplicity is part of its brilliance. There's no strict formula or complex ritual required. At its heart, meditation is about focused awareness, a skill that anyone can develop. Even just a few minutes of mindful breathing can make a difference in reducing stress and sharpening your mental energy. Ancient cultures saw meditation as an essential practice for aligning with the flow of energy in the mind, body, and universe. Today, neuroimaging studies show us what's happening at the brain level during these practices. When you meditate, you're not just clearing your mind in a vague sense, you're literally training your brain to tune in, like turning up the brightness or contrast on a photo. The fine details of your inner world, once blurry or filtered out by stress or distraction, suddenly start to take form. For beginners,
Starting with a simple focus meditation can be transformative. Find a quiet spot, sit comfortably, and turn your attention to a single point: your breath, a candle flame, or even just the sounds around you. At first, your thoughts might race. That's normal. The beauty of meditation is that the practice itself isn't about perfection, but repetition. Gradually, sessions like these can help you build the mental muscle to notice patterns in your feelings, energy, or even how your body holds tension. With time, meditation doesn't just enhance your awareness, it teaches you to respond to life's challenges from a place of internal alignment, rather than reactive chaos. Sound healing might seem less familiar, but it's one of the most approachable ways to engage with energy on a sensory level. Ancient cultures used sound as an intentional tool, whether through chanting, instruments, or rhythmic drumming. Today, even if you don't have access to specific tools like Tibetan singing bowls, you can still work with sound in practical ways. One suggestion is to focus on the sounds already present in your environment: the hum of a fan, the chirping of birds, or even the rhythm of your own steps. This practice isn't simply about hearing, it's about noticing. When you focus on sound, you train your attention to move with purpose rather than wander aimlessly. In some ways, sound becomes an anchor for the mind, grounding you to the present moment while engaging your body's energetic awareness. Science is beginning to validate some of the effects of sound on human health and energy. For example, specific tones and frequencies have been studied for their capacity to encourage relaxation and reduce stress. Resonant sounds, like those you might hear during chanting or humming, affect the vagus nerve, a nerve linked to the parasympathetic state of rest and repair. Traditional cultures might not have had the scientific language to describe this process, but they intuitively understood its power. If you've ever tried humming or chanting during meditation, you may have felt your body soften, your thoughts quiet, and your whole being shift into a more grounded sense of awareness. These are small, simple actions, but their impact can be deeply felt. For many, the biggest misconception about ancient energy practices is that they require a significant time commitment or involve complicated methods. But that's far from the truth. These techniques were meant to integrate into everyday life, whether that meant the slow flow of Tai Chi under the morning sky, or simply taking a few deep, mindful breaths before starting the day. For example, imagine setting aside just 2 minutes to practice alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhana. Even in that short time, you can bring balance to your energy, giving yourself a calm, centered feeling that carries into the hours ahead. What practices like these prove is that you don't need to leave your daily responsibilities behind to find inner harmony. It's not about escaping. It's about weaving energy awareness into the fabric of your life. Starting small is key. Overloading yourself with big, ambitious rituals can cause frustration or overwhelm. Instead, think of these practices as seeds you plant into your routine. Dedicate 5 minutes a day, before bed, during a lunch break, or right when you wake up, to breathing quietly, repeating a mantra, or sitting in stillness. These tiny efforts accumulate over time, creating changes that may not seem dramatic at first, but build into something undeniable. You don't have to believe in energy to start noticing its effects. Often, the practice itself leads you into awareness. The point isn't perfection, it's connection. Adapting these ancient practices to your life today is less about tradition and more about finding what works for you. Whether it's breathwork, meditation, or sound-focused attention, these tools are there to meet you exactly where you are and gently expand your understanding of your own energy. And as you begin to tune in, you'll likely start to uncover something even more exciting. A connection not just to yourself, but to the energy that ties you to everything around you. What does this reveal about the broader human quest to understand energy? Let's step back and take a look. What does it mean that every culture, no matter how far apart or isolated, sought to define an invisible force that flows through life itself? With no way to share ideas across oceans or mountain ranges, humanity somehow arrived at overlapping ideas: prana in India, ki in China, ka in Egypt, and even concepts like wakan in indigenous traditions of the Americas. Was this a coincidence, or does it reveal something essential about human nature? These shared beliefs raise the profound possibility that across time and space, we've all been asking the same question: what is energy and how does it connect us to each other and the universe? When you start to compare these traditions, what stands out isn't just the cultural differences, but the universality of the themes they explored. In India, the breath of life, prana, was both personal and expansive, connecting the individual to the cosmos through practices like yoga and meditation. In China, Qi was described as the flow that governed balance and vitality, something that needed to move freely through every being and even the environment. Meanwhile, the Lakota people of North America spoke of wakan, a spiritual energy present in everything, from rivers to animals to the stars above, emphasizing a harmony between all living things. Clearly, humanity saw energy not as a metaphor, but as a living thread that ties us to something greater. And yet, despite how deeply ingrained these ideas are in human history, they've often been dismissed or misunderstood in modern times. Today, the idea of vital energy is separated into categories like spirituality, pseudoscience, or even superstition. For centuries, particularly in the West, anything that couldn't be measured by physical tools was treated with skepticism. But that skepticism often discounts the purpose behind these ancient ideas. Energy concepts weren't about inventing mystical explanations, but about exploring layers of life that felt real, even if invisible. Anthropologists recognize this pursuit as universal across cultures, not a sign of ignorance, but of profound curiosity. It's not so much that different civilizations copied one another, but that humanity as a whole understood there was more to life than what meets the eye. Research into cultural traditions shows this beautifully. A study on the concept of prana recognized it not only as a metaphorical life force, but as something now explored in modern wellness practices, where it is defined as a biofield. It turns out that different cultures, even when describing energy through unique symbols or terms, shared a common goal. They wanted to understand how subtle, unseen forces influence well-being. This research highlights that the application of these energy concepts was meant to heal, connect, and deepen human experiences. The fact that they arose independently, yet echoed across continents, suggests a universal yearning to make sense of life's mysteries. This shared quest for understanding energy even extends into the natural world. Many ancient cultures believed that energy wasn't only within humans, but threaded through the environment itself. From mountains and rivers to stars and storms, nature wasn't random or mechanical. It was alive, pulsating with the same energy that sustained us. This wasn't mere belief, but the foundation for countless traditions. Indigenous peoples of the Americas, for example, developed ceremonies to harmonize wakan, reflecting a deep awareness of the interconnectedness between people and their surroundings. Similarly, in Egypt, the precise alignment of the pyramids demonstrated their understanding that energy could connect earthly life with cosmic forces. What's remarkable about these traditions is how they encourage connection rather than isolation. Unlike modern society, which often separates individuals by nationality, culture, or ideology, ancient energy systems urged people to see themselves as part of something larger, a web of life. They fostered a sense of unity, not only within one's own community, but with all of existence. Recognizing that every culture had its version of these energy beliefs could offer us something powerful in today's divided world. Instead of looking at these differences as barriers, we might start to appreciate the shared human desire they reveal. The need to be in balance, to feel connected, and to understand our place in an infinite universe. Psychologists and philosophers have suggested that this universal interest in energy reflects inherent aspects of human consciousness. Some argue that humans are naturally drawn to frameworks that give life deeper meaning and order. This search isn't just about survival, it's also about purpose and connection. From an anthropological perspective, energy concepts provided people with practical ways to cope with uncertainty, illness, and change. Rituals focused on energy, whether through chanting, movement, or sacred geometry, were tools for creating clarity and peace in a world filled with chaos. You see this pattern everywhere, people turning to symbols and practices that align their inner experience with the outer world. The universality of energy concepts also suggests something profound about how humans perceive life. While modern science increasingly emphasizes separation, breaking things down into atoms, cells, or equations, ancient traditions leaned toward integration. They taught that the invisible couldn't be separated from the visible, that mind and body, spirit and matter were all part of the same energetic field. In this way, energy wasn't just a force, it was a philosophy of connection. Cultures may have used different pathways, but they all seemed to arrive at a shared truth. Understanding energy wasn't about gaining power, it was about finding unity, balance, and meaning. Even today, as science advances, we're starting to circle back to some of these ancient ideas. The rise of mindfulness, yoga, and breathwork in modern culture shows that people are rediscovering the value of practices that nurture the whole self, not just the physical body. And as research continues to explore biofields, sound healing, and the effects of focused intention, the gap between ancient wisdom and modern knowledge keeps narrowing. It's an exciting reminder that life's mysteries may not be solved by science, but deepened by it. A process of uncovering layers of truth that ancient cultures began exploring millennia ago. But why do we still resonate so strongly with these traditions? Perhaps it's because they touch on something timeless. They remind us that life isn't just something we observe, it's something we participate in. Energy, as framed by ancient cultures, connects the tangible and the intangible, teaching us not only how to live, but how to belong to ourselves, to each other, and to the universe as a whole. So, where does that leave us? If humanity has spent thousands of years chasing the same invisible thread, what future discoveries might await as we continue this quest? We've only scratched the surface of understanding energy, how it flows, transforms, and connects everything. The deeper we look, the more we realize that this search isn't just about learning more, it's about remembering what we've always known. What if the quest to understand energy is the ultimate bridge? One that connects science, spirituality, and the shared human experience. Ancient cultures and modern fields like neuroscience now seem to echo each other, suggesting that energy isn't just a force within us, but the thread weaving us all together. By exploring these practices, you're engaging in that timeless quest. Try it. Breathe deeply. Feel the sounds and rhythms around you. Reflect on the invisible forces that shape your life, because this is only the beginning. Our growing understanding of energy might hold the key to unlocking consciousness, and perhaps life itself.